I wanted to make a recording here, an explanation basically of what to expect for your last and final project. A lot of times, students don't seem to have a full understanding of what this assignment is asking for and what it should look like, and for that reason, they get low marks. So, what I want to do is put the rubric and the guidelines kind of side by side and explain exactly what it is that you're going to turn in for this last and final project. This last project, what we call Project 2, is based on both your chosen artifact that you used for your Project 1, but it's also based on what you've learned in the course. So, really, this last and final assessment, measured by your ability to give some short answers to some questions, is looking to see how far you've come in your development of understanding your chosen artifact, as well as the concepts from the course. So, just to read you the overview for HUM 100 Project 2 Short Answer Responses, Guidelines, and Rubric, it says the enduring relevance of the humanities is that they encourage us to consider a number of big ideas. What is culture? How do we go about studying it? What is the relationship between cultural artifacts, the culture in which they are created? Between artists and the creators of cultural artifacts and the things they create? How is human meaning generated through cultural creations? We humans seem driven to express and create in our search to understand and be understood. So here we go. In Project 2, you will use the ideas you have studied throughout the course, in addition to the insights you have gained from your deep thinking about your chosen artifact, to discuss why humans are driven to express themselves in so many ways. You will draw conclusions about the reciprocal relationship between forms of expression and the context in which they are created and experienced. To kind of put that in plain English, artifacts don't exist in a vacuum. They are created by people who have culture. They also contribute to the culture that they're created in. Sometimes they challenge cultural norms, sometimes they reinforce cultural norms and ideas, but they are both part of the culture and they are both influencing the culture. And so that is what humans do. They express themselves artistically and creatively in artistic ways. And those objects that they create are the solid, visible examples of culture. That's not just an art piece such as a painting or a sculpture, but it's also poetry and music and things like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to give some short answers to these questions that are found here. And so I'll tell you now, basically what I'm really looking for is 3 sections, just as you see it written out, Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3. You're going to divide up your answers, organize them this way. In fact, go ahead and use Roman numeral 1, little letter A, little letter B. Roman numeral 2, little letter A, little letter B. Like, organize it that way so it's very clear. So in each of those 3 sections, you are going to give an example from the course, okay, and and then specifically answer the question about your artifact as well. So, for example, number 1, Roman numeral 1 says, explain why you believe humans have a need to express themselves through created artifacts. So, letter A, explain the larger human need to express using the insights you gain from studying your artifact. And so you're going to use your artifact as an example to explain this broader, larger sort of human need to express. Like, and so you're going to reflect on that. Um, that should be about 5 sentences. I mean, that would be the bare minimum. And you're going to reflect on how studying your artifact taught you about how why humans make artifacts, why they create these things, and what they represent, and how it's symbolic of certain cultural ideas, religious ideas, philosophical ideas. All of the things that you learned while studying your artifact. That's part A. Okay, then part B is you're going to detail how a person and or concept encountered in this course has informed your explanation. Okay, so this is important because I need you to be very specific. All right, so I'm talking like in Module 2, we learned about fill in the blank, so and so. And what we learned was that they created this kind of art because. And so you're going to take specific examples from the course. It could be a specific discussion we had, like in week 5. Tell us exactly how your encounter with that assignment helped inform your understanding, and kind of informed your explanation of that need to express. So you might say, in week 3 discussion, I think it is, we talked about Bob Dylan or Anne Frank. And what I learned was the way they expressed themselves in this song, explained what was going on in the world at the time, and it represented how they felt, and it represented what was happening in the culture, and they needed to express something personal through this artifact, and that is what they did. And that helped me understand this concept that humans need to express themselves through art, through created artifacts. Okay, so that would be Roman numeral 1. Part A, talk about your artifact and how it relates to your understanding of the need to express. Part B, letter B under Part 1, talk about something from the course that helps you understand this concept of needing to express ourselves as humans through artifacts. Then in Part 2, Roman numeral 2, you're going to explain how you think the act of human creative expression impacts and is impacted by the culture, right? So that's what I was saying a minute ago. Like, when you create an artifact, like, it's like you're launching it into the audience of your culture. And like, what does it do once you've launched it out into the world? Like, does it offend? Does it motivate? Does it inspire? Does it challenge? Right? And so not only is it being sent out into the world to do something culturally, right? It's also impacted by that culture that's out there. And so when we say impact, it can also mean influence or inspire. And what I'm looking for is that you're able to draw those connections, that you can see how the artist is connected to the culture, the artifact is connected to the artist, the artifact is connected to the culture, and that we have this sort of triumvirate of cultural interaction between creator, audience, and artifact, and it goes every which direction. But you're trying to unpack those cultural ideas, those human ideas that are embedded into this process. And so you're going to do that in reflection of your own artifact, and you're going to give us some examples from the course, very specific. Could be when you read an article, like refer to something. In week 1, we read the article Extraordinary Outsiders, and that taught me this about culture and the impact of artifacts, and you elaborate and reflect on that. But it needs to be specific. Same thing for Part 3. You're going to do exactly what you did in Part 1 and Part 2 with an A section and a B section, and you're going to talk about impact issues we deal with today. And so how does human creative expression impact issues we deal with today? And there's a lot to talk about. I mean, just think of what's going on in the world today. There's plenty of that statement's true always. So anytime, there's always something going on in the world with relevant issues, social issues, concerns. And that's part of the humanities, because that's part of culture, that's part of society. And so your chosen artifact should help you understand that truth about the way creative expression is related to current events and issues, social issues, cultural issues, religious issues, whatever. Your artifact should be able to help you understand that, and then draw on something specific from the course that also helps you in that understanding. And so think of it this way. If you look at the rubric over here, which is basically the one, this is what I see when I grade. It's the same rubric you see over here at the bottom, but as you notice, need to express your artifact, need to express this course. So those first two, I need to see your reflection on your artifact concerning the need to express. I need to see something from this course specific. I'm talking assignment, module number, article name, discussion, like be super specific. I don't want you to reflect on your artifact from Project 1 for any of these Part Bs. Let me make that clear, because you're supposed to draw on something else that helped your explanation and understanding. So sometimes students will, talk about their artifact, but then they'll say, well, I learned, when doing Project 1, and that's not really the point, because Project 1 is still about your artifact, so you're kind of answering Part A in Part B as well, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to talk about your artifact in Part A, something from the course in Part B for Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. So, need to express your artifact, this course. Impacts and is impacted by culture, your artifact, and this course. Impact on today's issues, your artifact, and this course. And then the way I grade this last category is an articulation of response, and that has to do with how well you wrote those short answers. Was it free of grammar issues and spelling and syntax and organization and issues? Was it easy to read? So if you, unfortunately, are like some students that have done this before, they'll just sort of write one long block of text. You're going to lose some points in the articulation of response because it's got issues in organization. It's not easy to read. That's why I'm going to say just do the Roman numerals and A and B for each 3 of the sections, and you'll have an excellent organization. But if you did just break it up into 6 distinctly clear, organized paragraphs, that would be fine too. But if you know the rules of writing at the college level, every paragraph has to have a clear topic sentence. So that needs to be, I need to know that first sentence. If you just do paragraphs, in that first sentence of each paragraph, it needs to have a clear topic sentence that says basically this paragraph is going to be about how I understand human expression related to my artifact. Okay, but I just wanted to do that. Just this explanation should help, and so hopefully everyone gets a chance to look at this, gives you some understanding. But if at any point it's not completely clear and you have any questions at all about your final project, please do email me, j.weatherford@snhu.edu.